Since it's the new month and I've been reading again, I get to talk to you about the books I read in May. The first thing I read was House of Leaves. It was real good and really big and very, very bizarre. It's kind of a horror book, but that sounds like I'm way oversimplifying it. It's just hard to describe. It's different, but it was really, really good. I enjoyed it a lot. I also read this, which, is a graphic novel by Hayao Miyazaki. He's the director who did Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke and all those other really, really good Studio Ghibli films. But before he did that stuff, at least the way I've heard the story, in Japan, they didn't quite trust him with directing a film, so they made him do a manga version first, just to, I guess, test the waters for the audience. It's a much less financially risky investment, so they wanted to see if it would be a success, and it turned out it was really, really good, and a big success, and they let him direct a movie then. And you'd think, since it was so early in his career, it might not be quite up to par with some of his later stuff, but that is not the case at all. In fact, it's probably one of my favorite things he ever made, and I really like a lot of the things he made. I also read this. I guess I started this one a couple months ago, but I didn't get far since the central characters kind of are like smugly superior to the people around them, and I have a slight tendency to also act smugly superior to those around me, and I don't really want to foster that kind of behavior in myself, and I thought that reading a book about people who are like that was going to slightly more encourage me to be like that, so I didn't finish it before, but I just decided, well, I'm gonna read it anyway. And it was good. Not the sort of things I was worried it might be, though the ending was really dumb. I had a creative writing professor in college who forbid us from allowing our central characters to have an epiphany at the end of our stories, and I can see why now. Because even if there's kind of a reason and call for it, it still seems really cheesy and artificial. And I read this. It might have been my favorite book that I read, actually. I tend to read every once in a while a book that's not only not very literary, it's kind of anti-literary, like The Alchemist or Siddhartha, still don't know how to pronounce that one, where it's kind of mockingly scorning the highbrow, close-reading word types and just like, hey, here's a story. Enjoy this as a story, and you don't have to really think about it too much, and you'll get a lot out of it. And I had kind of heard people putting this book in the same category as those, but it turns out it's not. You can tell that the author really knew what he was doing, and though most of the time it's very simple language and stuff like that, the word choice is just very precisely, carefully selected, and I got a lot out of that for many different various reasons. And the last book I read was this one. I like Russian literature, and I liked this book. It was much shorter than most of the Russian literature that I've read and people stereotypically read when they're talking about Russian literature. So yeah, those are the things I read. I liked them. I'll probably be doing one of these next month, so yeah, have fun.